So the whole idea of Jolicloud was to figure out how to build not only an operating system but an interface that works well with netbooks. And one of the interesting things with netbooks is they mostly have 7, 9 or 10 inch. Now you even have like bigger screen, but we focus at first on the 10 inch. It's becoming the commodity. If you take my Asus EPC 1008 HA, is basically the exact same screen. So this screen size become the commodity for netbooks. Same kind of keyboard, mostly roughly the same components. So what we did at first was to, and that's what we're doing for about a year now, is rather than come out with a product and say, well, this is how it's going to happen, we decided to split the work into different phases. And the first one, of course, was to make sure that we have an optimized kernel and a Linux base that runs well on netbooks. So initially, when the netbooks came out, most of them were on Linux. Less than a year after that, most of them now are using Windows XP, and they had to bring Windows XP back from the dead to actually, or the almost dead, actually to fit this, because Vista was definitely too unusable for netbooks. And this is the first time in history of computers that people said, well, you know what, you just need a computer. If you need a computer for the web, why do you need to spend more than 300 euros? And you should just get a netbook. And I think this is interesting because what we believe is that because of the cloud, now if I use Gmail, Google Docs or Facebook, it's not about the processing power of this computer that matters, it's the bandwidth and their cloud service. So you have some kind of equity between users. You can be on a very cheap machine or you can be on an expensive machine. If you're using Gmail, everyone is stuck to the same speed. And so we truly believe that, and I've seen that, I've discovered that for the last five years, most of my usage moved from the desktop to the cloud. Basically, I used Outlook, now I use Gmail. I use the contact list, now basically Facebook, Twitter are my contact list, in a way. I'm
Gmail
using
contacts.
Yes. I'm using Skype. I'm using a bunch of services, and one of the first things we did for when we started Jolicloud was first to make sure that it works fast and it's nice. Second, I want to make sure that most of this, not most, but all the software that I use on my Mac, I could use them here. So Firefox, Chrome, Skype, BitTorrent, Spotify. I guess if you go to the sound video here, you would have Spotify that works pretty well, because any of the Windows apps can actually run through Wine. The software actually that let me just connect to my.
So what's going on here? Did you guys or Spotify make a Linux version of
No,
Spotify?
what we did with work with Daniel and the team is to make sure that the using of the Windows version on Linux through Wine, that is this little software here, that can let me run all the software that I need, even Office you could if you need, but I'd rather use OpenOffice, would work perfectly.
For Google Apps.
Yes. So any Picasa as well, the PC version would work here. So let me see how we can get to Spotify. Okay, good. So and I can use it pretty exactly the same way I would use it on my. Oops, sorry. Exactly the same way I would use it on my Mac. So
this is a Windows version of Spotify.
if I running on
the netbook.
Exactly.
On Jolicloud.
Exactly. As we use the web, what we need to do is to make sure that applications, well, the browser of course, but application like Twitter, like Facebook could run independently, a bit like the iPhone. For example, if I launch Facebook, and that we maximize the screen space. So we have only the top bar here that gives you, like here you can see what are the applications you're using right now. And here you have information, so this is the time. That was a legacy from the first netbook, you know, the control, because on the first netbook you didn't have any light to tell you had actually hit the caps lock. So you had to show it there. This is a little feature that let me know how much power do I want to use. Let me put the maximum power now. the Wi-Fi, the battery. Here, actually, this is the social feature of Jolicloud. It says that received 10 new notifications on my Jolicloud, and this just tells me I have an update. So let me go to my Jolicloud and see what notification I have. So I have one update, it's a system update, and I receive notification. So what we did is that, you know, it's usually a pain when you have an iPhone. You can ask your friends what are the apps you installed, and you keep looking at their phone. So we thought that the first social feature we should do is actually giving the ability to follow friends who have Jolicloud, and basically have the stream of installed apps.
What is this this desktop running in? What is that written in? Is that written in
This is HTML. This is HTML. So the next, this was my going to be, for now, we only did the settings and the social features on HTML, but what we will release in January is the whole thing is going to be in HTML. So we can control the whole user experience. You don't only go through one, but you have the whole experience.
So can people write custom skins and style the CSS for the OS?
That's going to be the idea. So
can you sign in with multiple user accounts?
For now, you only do one. We're using OAuth as a authentication mechanism.
OAuth.
OAuth, yes.
Right. So yeah, because one of the things that I could imagine is that, you know, you have a netbook sitting in the living room of a family, and depending on whichever family member happens to be sitting on the couch, they can sign in with their personal account.
Yes, but the thing is that for all this thing, we're thinking about having a guest account, meaning that you have a friend, you want to use it, you go and guest, you have your own environment, you do your stuff, and when you leave, everything removed. Because the problem we see is, it's like the iPhone, is that you don't want to give your iPhone to someone to play with. You have your photos, your personal data, your information, your SMS. If this is my personal and social computer, this will have my private documents, my music. Well, music is my private pictures, my videos, all these things. There's like things that make this computer become my computer. So unless you don't care, and then you can have multiple accounts. We thought that the idea of having something very personal, very yours.
I thought that stuff was stored in the cloud, but is it all stored locally?
You have both. You can you have a few things that are stored in the cloud. Well, or
are you using HTML5 app cache?
Yes. Exactly. We're going to use HTML5 for local storage. For local dump storage. Yes.
Right. Database and app cache.
Exactly.
Right.
The only thing is that we're still working with these guys to get it properly done.
Right.
But no, you can have local docs. I mean, if I go here, I'm probably going to have my presentation from early on. So if I decided that my Dropbox will synchronize this, I have it here because when I'm in the plane or when I'm somewhere that I have no connection, I can play with it. But I also know that
so there's a Dropbox client for Jolicloud?
Yes, there's a Dropbox client.
Is that the generic Windows client that runs through?
No, it's a specific Ubuntu. It's a Ubuntu Debian-based client that we use.
Okay.
It's pretty.
Did you have to work with Dropbox to get it to work?
This one, no. Actually, it worked pretty well. I can install it for you if you want to check how it is. It actually worked pretty well, and here is the client. But
so this is an app store or an app directory.
Yeah, we can install Boxy.
Yeah.
So we're actually working with them to have a specific version for us.
So can you run your own app store?
We're actually gonna. This is our app store. We're gonna basically help people build their own apps, and they can be promoted. And you see the installation process is ridiculously simple.
Do you also do paid apps?
Not yet, but something we're considering.
Right.
But I think that there's going to be two opportunities for revenues. It's apps and services. Services are like storage, things like that. You're becoming the launch pad to access all the services. Makes sense. Because at some point, this is a shell. This is generic. I mean, I could use this computer, I could use the other one, I would use another one. What is important for me is that we maintain the integrity of all my data, all my cloud services.
Right.
That's the main thing. Right. And the second is that my data have value. And people are starting to pay. That's what I do. I don't know if you do that, but I pay for certain service to get my data safe somewhere.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, it's like iPod, the only thing that is important there is the data. I mean, of course, I would be pissed if I break it, it's almost done, or if I lose it. But what it makes it especially important is the data inside.
Well, in my case, you know, I have 2 iPhones because I have a US one and a European one. And just to give an example, you know, Google Sync makes this possible because the really important pieces of data on the phone are your contacts and your calendar, and basically your email in my case. And Google Sync lets me, you know, whenever I add a contact on one phone, it automatically appears in the contact list of the other phone, right? So, like, I'm thinking for you guys, it would seem logical to partner up with someone like Dropbox, you know, that kind of makes it possible so that when, you know, if I'm on ideally, I would, you know, whatever I did on my phone or one of my other devices, even if it wasn't running Jolicloud.
Now that's definitely, it's already the case, you know. I actually have a Mac, what do you call that? The flat Mac, the iMac. I have an iMac home, and everything that I do, I start sometime working on a document on my Mac, and I take this on the bus, plug it in, and it appears automatically, and I finish it.
So what document editor would you be using in that case? Google Docs, or
either Google Docs or OpenOffice, or
and where would you store it? Would you store it in your Dropbox?
It depends.
Or where would the document be stored?
It depends. Sometimes I put it on a Dropbox because I want to have it handy,
right?
In case I don't have connectivity. Or sometimes I just finish it online. That's an interesting thing because right now it really depends. Sometimes I just do things completely on the cloud. Sometimes I use, but we didn't want to choose have people just to use the cloud or just to use. You let both happen, and it depends.
Right.
What is important is like anything that I've done that has been stored at some point here is synchronized on my Mac, is synchronized on my other netbooks.
Yeah.
It's the fact that I want to make sure, because usually when I switch from Vista with a pen to my Mac, basically my computer was literally full of configuration, full of services and stuff. Actually.
Right.
And this time we organized the operating system and the layer and the directory to make sure that every information that you add in here can be saved somewhere.